Hi class, today we're going to learn about Johannes Vermeer. Vermeer is from the golden age of Dutch painting. He lived from 1632 to 1675. Little is known about him. He's a bit of a mystery. No drawings, sketches, or writings have survived. Even his grave has vanished. Well, this is what we do know about Vermeer. He was born October 31st, 1632, in Delft, Holland. The town was rich due to the manufacture of blue and white pottery. We know his father was a silk worker and art dealer. Sadly, Johannes's father died when he was just 20. In 1652, he married Catharina Belenz and converted to being a Catholic. His family was Protestant growing up, but his mother-in-law refused to allow the marriage until he converted. We know that he and his wife, Katharina, had 15 children together, but sadly, some died in childhood, so we don't know about how many children survived. We know that he joined a guild and registered his job as a master painter. His paintings alone supported his family, and they were very detailed, and we know that he could only have painted about 2 or 3 paintings a year. So when he was at the height of his popularity, he must have gotten a good price for his beautiful paintings, for him to be able to only sell that few a year and yet support a large family. Sadly, in 1672, France invades Holland. This creates a huge hardship for Vermeer and his family. No paintings are selling, and his family is left in very bad financial shape. Only 3 years later, Vermeer dies. He's left with many children, lots of debts. We know that her family ran an inn, and so people aren't coming on vacation or doing things during a war. So she has to sell off all the paintings that remain of what we know of to pay off debts. But there is one painting, which is the one illustrated on the screen, is she will never sell. No matter how poor she gets, she never sells this one, which has a title of Art of Painting. Many believe that this was Vermeer self-portrait and their daughter posing in the window holding a book and an instrument. So it was a family piece, and we believe that it is actually a self-portrait of Vermeer. To this day, there's only 35 Vermeer paintings that still exist. There may be more hidden somewhere, but all across the world in major museums, there's only 35 authenticated Vermeer paintings. He is known for realistic subject matter, so he likes to paint real people in everyday scenes and very common objects of the time. But remember, he's painting during the 17th century, so what might look odd or old to you would be something that would be an everyday object. He uses beautiful colors. He's also known for, when he does his room scenes, of having a side window as a light source. He uses a camera obscura for some of his paintings. A camera obscura was a very primitive type of camera with lenses. They believe that he looked through lenses to help get a sharp outline so that he could be using them in his pictures. As a result, also, when he does landscapes, he has a sharp focus. There's lots of highlights on the objects and increases the depth of field. So in other words, you can really see the foreground, or the stuff closest to you in the picture, the stuff in the middle or middle ground, and stuff in the background. Also, if you look very carefully at Vermeer's, you'll see that he does a lot of recycling. Clothing in the pictures are often used many times, so they might just be clothing props. He's probably using his children because the children in the pictures look similar or look like the same person. Furniture is moved around, so you can see many places where he uses the same things. He often uses a map, a globe, musical instruments, And there's a good chance that these were things that Vermeer just had around the house. So when he's doing his pictures, he's even though they're portraits, he might be using them more like still lifes, where he puts objects together of the same thing and just rearranges them in his pictures. Here's an example of a landscape in Delft, and you can see how it has a real quality of a photograph. You forget that this might actually be a painting. So many people believe and have done studies that he probably used a camera obscura to help put all the depth in and the shadows that you would have if you used a camera. He used everyday scenes. You can see here someone pouring milk out of a jug with breads and things, maybe getting ready for a breakfast scene. So you can see this would just be an everyday normal scene. It's not a king or queen or to commemorate some fancy occasion. It's just an everyday scene. And that's one of the things that Vermeer is known for. Look at these two paintings side by side. He's also known for the use of a side window to put light into the scene. So you can see he's probably using his own objects, because if you look at enough Vermeers, there's only 35 of them, but you'll see the ones that involve people. They're wearing similar clothes. You can see the rug on the table. Rugs were very expensive. They weren't actually put on the floor. They were often put on tables and walls. And you can see that looks like the same rug. You can see the window open, the window shut. Here's a great example of him using the same things. They believe this was probably Vermeer's son, and he's posing for dad while he paints him. On one, he's shown with a globe and the carpet and a rug on the table. But you see, if you look at the other picture, the globe's on top of the wardrobe, and you can see the same carpet on the table. You can see the same window. You can even say the same wardrobe, except they've done a little rearranging with some of the books and hanging different things so it changes the scenes up. But if you look at them side by side, you can definitely tell it's the same person. They just changed outfits and poses. Here is Vermeer's most famous painting. It's called Girl with a Pearl Earring. And you can see it's a young woman with a headdress on that's got a blue band, and then it wraps, or a scarf, and it wraps around in a knot in the back. And she has a large pearl earring hanging from her ear, and is wearing a yellow outfit similar to some of the outfits in the other paintings. This is his most famous painting, and what it makes it really special is the fact that she's turned looking over her shoulder with a black background, and the light is on her face. Now, at the time, we haven't seen anything like this in a portrait. Usually people were face forward or they were in profile to the side, and they would have some sort of background painted. Maybe they would be in a room or in a group. The fact that he put this whole scene together and made it black looks very similar to a school picture or a portrait or graduation picture, because this same pose is the pose that many photographers use today, where they put lighting on the face and then fade out the background to dark. It really highlights the features of someone's face, and it has become Vermeer's most famous painting. As a result, it's often a painting that gets what we call parodied. People do funny paintings based on this one because it is so famous. So with that, goodbye. Enjoy your Vermeers.